Welcome to another episode of the Frosty and Perenni podcast. I'm your host, Derek Frost. With me, as always, co-host and coach, Tony Perenni.
And the only one on this show still in the playoffs, as I forecasted.
It was, I have escaped the toilet bowl.
Okay.
So I won. Something. I won my matchup. We got Steve and Charlie in the toilet bowl championship this week. And then, you and Tim, right?
Me and Kevin, actually.
Yeah. Or you against Kevin.
Me and
then,
Kevin, yeah.
Yeah, Tim came in with 190 points.
Yeah, hopefully you didn't use them all up too early.
Who's Tim facing?
He's facing Mike.
Mike,
and Mike got him the first time around this year. I went and took a look at the schedule. Definitely got to hope that Tim didn't use up all his points last week and save some for this week because Mike's team's rested and ready to go. So,
yeah, Kalen and Vince both got hit by the injury bug this week.
Mm-hmm.
I had time to have that happen.
Yep. Vince, did you play Njoku? Did you find out after the fact that he wasn't in, or did you go to swap him out?
Swapped him out, went to the waiver wire. I don't remember who I picked up, but they got me like 3 or 4 points or something. So it was something.
Okay. Yeah. Not nothing, but may as well have been nothing.
May as well. I mean, Montgomery goes out, that was a big one. And he's been a monster for me all year. And Mahomes, he still got 15 points, but and you predicted it. He was going to start slow and then maybe take off. And Xavier Worthy got 20 points, and I put him on the bench because I was just a little nervous of doing the handcuff. Yeah. But
you were talking about playing him too.
I know, but it wouldn't
have
psyched
yourself out.
It wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah,
it was just it was garbage.
What's the off-season game plan going to be, Vince? Now that we're in that portion, mock draft time, all that stuff.
I am going to pick Mahomes for $100. That's.
That's probably good since Dave's just going to try and take him and trade him to you anyway. Gave away his whole strategy.
I'm gonna run him out of his draft money early on. Now I think it's pretty clear that even like a Lamar Jackson, a Josh Allen, I wonder who's going to be kept this go around, because those quarterbacks are going to start to get pretty pricey, and so that's going to really dictate my draft strategy. Which quarterbacks are kept and which ones am I going to go after? Baker Mayfield was amazing. Do I just put all my eggs in that basket? Because I also thought Deshaun Watson might be the next big thing that was going to be a cheap option. That didn't work. So
next year's the year, Vince.
Yeah. No, listen, everybody's playing checkers. Vince is over there playing Go Fish. It's great.
Uno. Big red and green and
Sean
and
Watson, Kirk Cousins, Baker.
Yeah. It's going really good over here. I come a long way from being winner of the league the first year that I'm in it. I haven't really sniffed that spot for a while.
Only one direction to go after that. You set the bar pretty high right off the bat, and then it's just been, all disappointment after that.
But I've never lost in the toilet bowl.
Yes.
I don't even know if I've been in the toilet bowl. Have I?
What would be said for that? I don't think Charlie's ever been in the toilet bowl playoff until this year. I think this is the first for him. I think. He's always one of the lowest scoring teams in the league, and he always gets into the playoffs. He just plays great defense.
Yeah.
Year in, year out.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah.
I can't remember him ever being in the toilet bowl playoffs.
We'd have to check for sure, but I'm with you. He usually sneaks in. He's a bubble team every year.
Yeah.
And he sneaks in as opposed to me. You just go ahead and punch my ticket again for next year. Holy shit. Well, the thing that really makes me feel like a piece of shit is that Vince took my team, like after I dropped out the first time. Vince inherited my team the next year, wins the championship. And I'm just like, God, am I that bad? Because I'm not even sure you kept anybody. Like, I
think I kept one person. I can't remember at this time, but yeah.
Oh, the kicker. Oh, you're the great kicker. All right. Oh man. Hey, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I am ready for Friday.
Oh yeah, you are.
I got the Lucky Lacrosse back-to-back national champions t-shirt. 2023, 2024, Notre Dame lacrosse. So I'm hoping this is the year of the Irish, and we go all the way.
Little Friday night lights for them. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I saw two things about Notre Dame. One, I don't know if you guys saw, they locked down Marcus Freeman for an additional 4 years.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, buddy said 6 years total. Now, does that mean anything when Ohio State calls? I doubt it. But theoretically, we got him. And then Marcus Freeman, head coach, also said it's going to be new jerseys for the game. Now, I'm not getting my hopes up too much because they always put nameplates on the back in bowl games, which they don't usually have during the year. So I'm guessing they're going with the normal navy blue, maybe some bling on it, or some scripting or something like that. I don't think we're going to do anything crazy, but I mean, if they pull out some green jerseys for Friday night, I'm going to be stoked.
It could just be a nameplate.
Probably just a nameplate. That's probably what it is. Yeah. And I'll be fine, but a little disappointed. The green jerseys aren't always the best luck symbol.
No, they don't tend to play very well with the green jerseys. They might want to keep those on the shelf.
Yeah, but God, do they look good?
Yeah, they're a good look. I'm not a big fan of the no nameplate thing. Never have been. Just me as a casual fan, I can never tell who anybody is out there. So yeah. I mean, the commentators are talking about the players. I have no idea who they are. It takes me a couple drives to finally figure out who the running back is. And was never a big fan even when I was coaching, because it makes you feel like the players have to earn the right to have their name on the jersey. And it's I don't really like that idea.
It's literally the first thing you get in life is a name.
Yeah. Yeah.
And especially nowadays that you can actually sell merchandise as a player, that's a big deal to have your name on a jersey. So I don't know why they wouldn't have changed that rule. It's not a rule, right? You can do it. There are teams that do it.
It's Penn State, Notre Dame, and USC are the big ones I can think of. I'm probably missing some others too that just aren't as high profile, but those are the three that come to mind.
Yeah, and I noticed during the Notre Dame Army game, and I don't know what if those are specialty jerseys, normal jerseys. I don't watch them that much, but they had I think Army across the back, but then on the front it had their name.
Yeah,
and they
usually do it in the little tag.
Yeah,
kind of like it's
an army badge,
like an army badge. Yeah, which I like. I like that. That's nice.
It's a cool look.
Nice take on it. Yeah.
What are you cooking, or what are you gonna sit down in the garage, gonna clear some space, light up a cigar, drink some Irish whiskey?
Man, that sounds like a phenomenal evening. Realistically, probably going to be pizza and my recliner. Trying to keep Izzy quiet enough so we can watch most of the game. I don't feel confident that I'm going to see most of it, especially because she stays up until 9:30, 10, some nights 11. So, I have a feeling halftime is going to be spent watching something on YouTube to try to get her to fall asleep.
And you have your game on your phone like this,
Yeah.
We've all been there.
I do have a second TV in the living room that, frankly, we just had too many TVs. It's a good problem to have. That we'll sometimes put on just a slideshow of pictures, but I could throw. It's not hooked up to cable, but it's hooked up to the internet, smart TV. So YouTube or Peacock or wherever the game's streaming, I could probably pull it up there. Yeah, it's not going to be ideal. I mean, what you described sounds amazing.
No,
it's not happening.
I'm going to imagine that's what you're doing, and if I get a second, maybe Tony and I will go up to Royal Havana. We'll smoke one for you.
That does sound great. I appreciate that. Yeah, you should make that happen.
Thank you. Well, speaking of college news, fellas, don't know if you saw, but wow, Bill Belichick is coming back to coaching University of North Carolina. And I didn't realize his dad had coached there. I didn't know there was a connection, because we started talking about UNC and I was like, man, I feel like Belichick could get something a little bit better. But that family tie, it's a pretty cool story. So Tony, how do you think Belichick does in this college environment?
I mean, I think he'll do just fine. I mean, he's Bill Belichick. He can go out and recruit whoever he wants from any team he wants. He's got the name value. Who isn't? Not even from the kids, because I don't know if the Bill Belichick name will resonate with the kids as much as it will with their parents. You recruit the parents. I mean, people are going to be shoving their kids to go play for Bill Belichick, especially if they think they have NFL aspirations. So do I think he'll be successful? Absolutely. I mean, I could make a case they win the ACC next year, first year, because that's not a tough conference as it is, and he's going to be able to get enough talent in there right away to compete.
I saw him on McAfee just before it was announced. Like the rumors were out, and like I think Pat McAfee asked him about it, and basically like, if you were to be the coach of North Carolina, like what would you do? And Belichick was like, if I were to buy myself as a coach at a college team, and like basically laid out that like his program would be to get you NFL ready. It's, because so much of that talent, we talk about these quarterbacks that are busts and stuff. The college game doesn't always transfer to the pro game. And so if Belichick is going to sit in there and tell you like, hey, we're not going to run these wild offenses or, gimmicky defenses, we're going to get you ready for the NFL. That's going to resonate with so many kids that's their ultimate goal anyways. Right. Yeah. So he knows how to do that. And we saw for most of his career, he was able to do that kind of stuff and make guys that maybe weren't the most talented on the field look like they were.
Yeah, he's casting a wide net right now. I saw he's trying to recruit Quinn Ewers or Arch Manning from Texas right now, and I mean, the Manning family, that's going to resonate with them. I mean, they had a lot of battles with Bill Belichick over the years. They know how good a coach he is. It would be interesting to see if he could pry them away there. Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely going to be successful there. I'm floored that he actually wanted to do it. That was the part that was like, man, I'm trying to picture this guy like going into the house of recruits and like eating dinner with the family and kissing ass to this 18-year-old. And they're like, this is not, if you had me list out like the top 5 coaches who would not be about that life, I think Belichick would be like, I'd say Belichick like 4 times.
Well, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with you, but I think, we've talked about in this new environment of college football, Saban gets out, where it's NIL money and transfer portal. Like, boy, it's really starting to sound like contracts and free agency, so some of those NFL skills may carry over better than the traditional college coach. Like, are they still going into the living rooms to have dinner with the family, or are they saying like, hey, here's the number? And it doesn't really matter if you vibe with the coach or not as much, because we're going to pay you a bunch of money. And if you don't like it, you leave the next year. So I could see where this is, especially if I'm a school like North Carolina, who, occasionally they're good, but they're not year in, year out vying for the ACC championship. Like, hey, let's take a different spin on this. And let's go after a guy that is used to dealing with these types of scenarios from the GM side and the coaching side.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, the difference is like, I guess he's not in control of the money. I probably loosely he is, but
yeah,
you're dealing with boosters, donors, sponsors, and it's like, I would assume being North Carolina down there is enough money to keep everything stocked, but the number of guys you're going to go after and stuff, you're going to be able to keep all of them happy. It's going to be interesting to see. But definitely it surprised me. Might just be a matter of he just wants to have some stuff to talk about with his girlfriend that he can actually relate to.
The jokes have been hilarious because it's like Belichick already knows how to recruit young talent. I saw a TikTok, I think it was, where it was like, this is perfect, like girlfriend, whatever, and then it was like they could have a small house off campus where Steve Belichick, his son, can dissect animals in peace. And boy, if you guys don't know what Steve Belichick looks like, you should Google him. It's a mugshot for sure. Every picture of him with the mullet and Yeah, he looks like a guy that would skin raccoons for fun.
For sure. Yeah.
I love the video. It's like a montage of him on the sidelines with, coaching for the Patriots, where he just looks crazed. He's got this mullet and he's like, just doing all these crazy weird faces as he's coaching. It's great. Oh my gosh. Did you hear that there was one of the demands that Belichick made that when he's done and retired, that his son takes over as head coach for UNC?
Is that real though? Because I thought that I saw that in the same vein as like Steve Belichick has a shed off campus.
I mean, he has the gravitas to make that demand. I mean, it's not that far fetched. Now, Steve Belichick being a college head coach, that would be something I want to see.
Where's he at now? Washington?
Washington. I think he's the defensive coordinator of Washington right now. Yeah, that's got to be interesting. Now, I guess do we think that that Belichick going to UNC though is just a hedge against any NFL potential jobs? Because I did see that his buyout amount in his contract goes to like $1 million as of like July of 25. Like the season hasn't even started yet, and his buyout can drop down to that much. So it's basically like, yeah, if somebody from the NFL comes and calls and he has a chance to go get that record, he's going to go do it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cool experiment. It's a school like UNC that's going to do it. I mean, Belichick saw that whatever happened in New England with him and Brady, especially in the time after Brady, like, I don't know, like, does Belichick have a negative stigma with him right now? And maybe he's trying to shake that off.
I think it's just these owners are just control freaks and they don't want to hand over to somebody who's going to want complete control. And Belichick was not a good GM. Let's be honest. Let's call it how it is. I mean, you got Tom Brady for a 6th round pick, which covered up all of your other sins, but for the most part, he did not do a good job maximizing talent out of the draft. So if he's going to come in wanting to, using Bill Parcells' terms, buy the groceries too, there's going to be a lot of groups that aren't going to be okay with that. And then it becomes a matter of, okay, who is he comfortable working with? Who's going to, supply him with talent that he's actually going to listen to? He's not going to just, try to dominate and push right out of the picture. So I think it's a matter of that, and it's mostly a control thing, but it's a shame. I mean, he's one of the greatest coaches of all time. There's going to be 7 to 8 job openings coming up this year, like there normally are. He should be a no-brainer for one of them. Like, let's be honest. I mean, even if there's some kind of reconciliation you have to do about how the GM portions of the job and the scouting pieces of the job are going to happen, I feel like you got to take a shot and make it happen because, his pedigree speaks for itself.
I got a hot take.
Let's hear it.
Cleveland fires Stefanski, hires Belichick, pays that $1 million. We're good at paying coaches way more than they should be paid for longer when they're not even coaching for us anymore.
Yeah. That's exactly what they'd be doing too, because they just gave Stefanski a big extension. Yeah. I think we'll be talking a lot about Stefanski in the coming weeks. Let's put it that way. I mean, Jimmy Haslam came out this week and basically said that both him and Barry are going to be back next year, gave him a vote of confidence. Do we believe it? We could have an entire podcast episode over that, I'm sure. So there's still 3 weeks left in the season. I'm sure it's not going to stop being a story. So I'm sure we'll touch on it sometime in the next couple of weeks. But as usual, it's going to be a very interesting offseason in Cleveland.
Well, this Sunday, I'll be at the game watching them take on the Dolphins. Real excited to watch Mike McDaniels on the sideline. Super pumped for him.
That's next Sunday, Dan.
What?
Yeah. If you go this Sunday, you're going to be there by yourself.
We're facing the Bengals this weekend in Cincinnati.
In Cincy, because Vince and I already saw them in Cleveland.
Next week.
So you can go if you want, but
I'll support you, Derek. I'll come with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you'll be tailgating really early.
Well, they just moved the game from 8 to 4. It's supposed to be a Sunday night game now. It's supposed to be a Sunday afternoon game. But no, you're right. Yeah, it's the 29th.
Starting DTR. So this is an interesting one. Starting DTR. I thought it was like the last game of the season for some reason. I just want it to be over. But I didn't realize there's still 3 games left. And they're starting DTR now? Like, that's a weird one, I think. What?
I think it's a combination of they want to see what he can do with a full week of practice, and also they just can't take Jameis's interceptions anymore, his turnovers. It's just I think he's just broken Stefanski at this point. It's like I can't watch any more of this. I had 6 turnovers this past game, in a game that was very winnable against the Chiefs, as most games with the Chiefs this year have been for opponents. But they found a good way to beat themselves consistently in that game, as they've done all season long. I mean, they've not protected the ball. And that's if you just merely win the turnover differential this year, your story is probably completely different, even with all the dramatics you had to go through. We were talking a couple of weeks ago, is Jameis somebody they could bring back next year to be a starter? And I don't foresee any scenario where Stefanski is signing up for watching that for 17 weeks and dealing with that if Stefanski's here. But I don't think the story is going to change for a different head coach either. I mean, some of these mistakes he's making are what are you looking at? And like we said in past pods, they're backbreaking picks. They're you're going in to tie the game and you throw an interception that completely changes the complexion. It's happening over and over. I don't think he's on the menu to come back next year. My guess, if the fresh off the press news, I think you should start getting used to the idea of Kirk Cousins being the quarterback next year, especially if Stefanski's back, because Stefanski if he is back, he's down to his last life. Let's be honest, and he needs somebody he trusts. And Cousins was damn near a MVP candidate last time he played for Kevin Stefanski. So if I'm willing to bet who he's gonna trust enough with his job on the line, it's probably going to be Kirk Cousins coming to town.
I would certainly watch 17 games of that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think he's as bad as what he looks in Atlanta this year. He is coming off an Achilles injury, and he's in an offense that isn't exactly super well suited for him. I mean, I think he could be an extension of kind of what Flacco was. If you bring the offense back to what it was with Stefanski running it, this new Ken Dorsey offense, so that's not Cousins' forte. So if that's the direction you're going to continue going, then he is not the fit for you.
I saw a stat line, and it may not be accurate anymore. It was from a couple weeks ago. They showed it during the game. It was most games for a team without a 100-yard rusher. And it was 19 or something like that for the Browns. And I don't know if Chubb's had 100 yards rushing since. I know there were injuries, but you're telling me we can't get 100 yards in any game for Chubb?
That's one of the biggest issues right now is they just cannot run the ball anymore. And I think that's contributing to the issues with Winston, is that you're asking him to throw the ball 50 to 60 times a game, which is a big time recipe for disaster. So they have to find a way to get back to the running game next year. I listen to the Browns film breakdown podcast every week. Jake Burns runs it. He does a really, really good job with it, but he did a whole couple episodes on what's happened to the run game over the past couple of weeks, and just talking about how the dynamics that were there a couple of years ago from a scheme perspective are just completely out of it now. And not only that, you turn the offense over to Ken Dorsey, and he's doing most of the shotgun run stuff, but he's doing no play action off of it, which was Kevin Stefanski's forte, is the play action pass. So it's Stefanski's not really pushing his agenda into Dorsey's, what he's calling. It's a really weird dynamic that's going on. I mean, we could tinfoil hat the shit out of this thing as far as what you think is going on behind the scenes. But the run game is broken. I mean, they flat out cannot do it from under center anymore. They're averaging 1.9 yards a carry this season, which has continued to tick down year after year since 2021, where they led the league, and they were excellent. You got to the fourth quarter with a lead, they'd give the ball to Chubb, and it was like Mariano Rivera coming in. You just close the game out. Yeah. They can't do that anymore. So that's something that they need to refine, because whoever's playing quarterback next year is not going to be a game breaker. Let's be honest. There's nobody out there in free agency. There's nobody in the draft. It's going to be somebody who's a bridge, who's going to be, it's going to be a Kirk Cousins, a Derek Carr, Justin Fields, somebody like that. You can't have that person throwing 50 times a game. That's not ever going to be a recipe for success.
No, that old game manager tag is going to be on whoever.
Yes. Absolutely.
What's Trent Dilfer up to?
I think he's still like yelling at high school kids or something.
Probably, yeah. The ultimate game manager.
Mason Rudolph looked pretty good the last time he played. And he's going to start again this week.
Yeah, him and Garrett on the same roster would be something.
I would love to see that.
That'd be awesome.
That should be the Hard Knocks year.
Oh, that would have been so great.
Yeah, we're getting nothing out of this Hard Knocks. But I didn't watch yesterday's episode, but the first 2 episodes, it's like they're not even showing like Stefanski coaching at all. It's like they are so like paranoid about any game plan stuff getting out. It's like they're hiding aliens in Area 51 in their facility or something. It's like, guys, come on. You can talk a little bit of action without spoiling the game plan.
Well, what was that? Somebody put out some type of social media post. I want to say it was from the Lions that had a whiteboard in the background that had a bunch of stuff written on it. And not sure if any of it was like secrets, but it was a bad look to have pictures from inside during game weeks. Like that's so yeah. I'm not surprised to see that they don't want anything getting out.
There are some teams out there that will mess with people when they do that stuff too and write fake stuff up on the boards.
Yeah.
in hopes that it gets caught and like it just leads to some other team down a rabbit hole. There's a whole lot of gamesmanship that happens.
Awesome.
Yeah. But they had that one clip, I think it was in the first episode, where they had the Browns assistant offensive line coach doing this rant about going to Denver. And it was I hope it was so obviously faked for the Hard Knock cameras because it was a terrible speech and it just felt completely forced. But I feel like it was like the Hard Knocks crew was just like, guys, you got to give us something here. So they just like went and just manufactured something because it was so laughably bad. It was like, this can't be real.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel organic at all.
No, and that's, the in-season stuff, you think you're going to get all this. I could see if maybe they released it later, but like to do it in real time just handcuffs the team so much. I'd be interested if they change it moving forward.
I feel like the Steelers with like Tomlin are doing a good enough job of like, you're getting to see his coaching style without him like giving away stuff.
Yeah.
Which is good. I think that's like the behind the curtain stuff that you're trying to see, but it's like some of the other ones, like, I guess we haven't seen that much of Baltimore yet because they were on a bye last week. So there really wasn't a whole lot to watch. So we haven't got to see a whole lot of Harbaugh, but especially in the Browns one, it's like you're seeing the most vanilla team meetings ever of Stefanski just in front of them, just saying, I don't know, just basically whatever he starts his speeches with every week, which is just the most generic, same thing every single week type stuff. You're not seeing him go into X's and O's about like, sitting with the QBs, game planning, that type of stuff. You're not getting any of that access stuff that you hoped you would get.
What if he isn't doing those things, Tony? Maybe it's just vanilla all the time, and that's why they suck.
Well, that's what the fan base is forced to assume when you don't give them anything, and then sports radio blows up.
Got to execute. We got to put our players in the best position to succeed. What are some of the other taglines?
I got to do a better job.
We just got to take it one play at a time.
Always looking, we're just one game at a time. We're not looking down the road. We're just, we're really just trying to get a win next week in Cincinnati.
Yeah, just trying to figure out how to go 1-0 this week.
That's it. That's the one.
Everybody's just trying to go 1-0 this week.
Yeah.
Super Bowl aspirations. I could see it.
Yeah. Every team at the beginning of the year, I don't win the Super Bowl. I did not know that going into this year it was going to be this shitty. Neither did anybody else, but I feel like it segues nicely into our kind of main event for this episode. And can I be honest with you guys? I never really watched a whole lot of Seinfeld.
What are you gonna do with your life?
So I was familiar with Festivus, just like it's Festivus for the rest of us.
Happy Festivus!
And then as we were talking about this episode, Tony's like, we should do a Festivus thing. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good.
Have you seen the poll, Cougar?
No, he doesn't need to see the poll.
He's going to see it.
I didn't know what it was. I had to go YouTube it.
Yeah, we should do that. What does that mean?
Yeah. So for those of you like me that are not Seinfeld fans and are not familiar with Festivus, first off, there's a little 5-minute clip on YouTube that basically says like, what is Festivus? And it's just like a little super cut of a bunch of scenes that explains it. You probably hit all the jokes. Very funny. But effectively, George Costanza's dad, played by Jerry, or Ben Stiller's dad, Jerry Stiller, right?
Yeah.
Created this holiday when George was younger called Festivus, where you air your grievances, and then there are feats of strength. We're probably going to skip the feats of strength this episode, but I think, fellas, Tony was right. We got to start airing our grievances for things that have really annoyed us this year. I'll start.
Let's hear it.
Mine are all holiday things because I have a short memory and we're in the holidays. Now, Christmas happening during wintertime means that Christmas things should happen indoors. As a species, we've done a great job of developing indoors to be perfectly climate controlled, that we don't need to be outside. But Tony doesn't feel that way. And Tony keeps dragging me to this bullshit outside stuff. When we were in college, Tony's parents came to BG to watch a game, and it was one of like the 3 Bowling Green games I ever watched. And then we went out to dinner afterwards, closer to Toledo, at this outdoor shopping area called Levis Commons. And there were way too many people there. And there was this like giant tree, and you could tell they were like decorated for Christmas. Turns out it was the Levis Commons tree lighting. It was the worst day of my life. It was cold. And at that time, I was a college kid with no money. So I was buying these like super cheap blue jeans from Kohl's. The brand was Urban Up. And they ripped like every 6 months. You had to buy new ones, but they were pretty thin. So I have my jeans on and probably like a sweatshirt. I don't remember. And it is like the wind is just whipping through. I mean, you guys know Northwest Ohio, the wind just whips through there all the time. And I'm freezing. And it's at this point, Tony's parents have left. So it's me, Laura, and Tony. And they're like, we should stay. And I was like, I want to leave. I absolutely want to leave. So it's ice cold. I'm not prepared for this. They want to go to Starbucks. I don't like Starbucks. I don't like anything at Starbucks. I'm starting to come around on it now, but at the time, like it was terrible. And they were just, as I got more upset, they just thought it was funnier and funnier and funnier, to the point that for the next 2 years, we went back. We had to sit there in the cold, in the wind, and watch them light up a stupid goddamn Christmas tree. They look the same every goddamn year. And I don't understand why we make this big deal about like, hey, it's cold as shit. Let's all go outside and bundle up and pretend like this is the reason for the season. Like, no, it's fucking cold as shit. Let's go back inside where it's warm. We can have our hot cocoa. And we could light up indoor trees. You want to go to the mall? I'd rather stay in line for Santa at the mall than go to another goddamn tree lighting.
So I guess the question is like, are all the people going to see these tree lightings? Is it about the festive nature and about the season, or is it about there's just somebody in their party they just want to piss off?
That's what it feels like.
It's just this collection of people with like 20% of the people just so angry that they're there. And the other 80% just so glad to make that person angry that they're there for the tree lighting. I think conspiracy theory wise, I think you're onto something.
Yeah. So, I mean, even like last weekend, Laura's like, hey, we're going to the zoo to look at the lights. And I was just like, why are we going to the zoo? Why can't we look at lights? Why can't we like go in the car and do one of those drive-through light places? She's like, oh, we're going with Tony and Lauren. And I was like, I don't like you, because you planned this. Like, this is those comments all over again. Like, I have to go and
it's
now
the
walk
evolved
around.
version of the tree lighting.
It's awful. Now, I will say it's better now because I have like heated stuff. Like I have a vest, the electricity runs through it and it warms. That's made life a little bit better. But like we could have sat in the car and done the same thing somewhere else. But no, we gotta be outside because it's Christmas time and it's cold as fuck, and that's what we had to do.
Yeah, makes sense. Ivy was on board with you. She was not a fan of the cold. She was not having a good time at the zoo lights. And the second we got back in the car, she was happy as a clam all over again. So if she was on this episode, I think she would share your concern about the tree lighting and the outdoor Christmas festivities. But she's not. So I'm just going to echo that it was so much fun making you miserable for this. And we've already started talking about like a 20-year anniversary trip going back to Levis Commons for tree lighting with the whole family.
Yeah, because Lauren didn't know anything about it. And so now it's going to become a goddamn tradition. Yeah, where not only are we going to have to go wait out, like stand outside and watch the lights, we're going to have to drive 2.5 hours to do it.
And then drive 2.5 hours back that night.
Yeah, I can just picture now me there with my family, and they're like asking me like, "Why did we want to come to this?" And I'm just pointing at you, just shivering over there. I was like, "That's why, guys. That's why."
So the other thing about that, I don't want to take up too much time, but it's just funny. So I'm legitimately like Vince. I'm the coldest I've ever been. I was prepared to like walk from the car to the restaurant and the restaurant to the car, and now we're here for like multiple hours. I'm freezing cold. And there was this like shoe store, but it was weird. Like they had like clearly bought this like the storefront next to them, but they hadn't like expanded into it yet, I think. So like the shoe store is busy because people are doing like the shopping and stuff. Like you could tell like this is a family tradition thing. And I go into the other part and I'm just like standing there, like finally warming up. And like now that we've had kids, like this all makes more sense. And I don't hold ill will. But a lady with her two like 5 to 7 year old kids and a baby like come in and I'm like whatever, and then she starts like breastfeeding the baby, and like I'm awkward as it is, and now like I feel trapped. Like oh god, what do I do? Like
you make some eggnog.
I just left. I walked out because like I didn't know what else to do, and she probably wanted me to leave. So. And that's fine. You got to feed your kid. There was nowhere else to do it. If there was a private, warm place, I would have been there too. So I get it. But I was just like, I walked back out and Laura and Tony are having a great time. They was like, what happened? I was like, there's a woman breastfeeding there. I can't be in there. So I'm back out in the cold.
So I think this is a moment to ask for some sponsorship from like Levi's, maybe North End, or North Face, maybe some of the Duluth Trading Company,
Columbia.
Yeah.
Obviously not Urban Up.
Not Urban Up. I don't even know they exist anymore. They were like $10.99 jeans, but they would rip at uncomfortable times.
Yeah, you got $10.99 worth of jeans.
Well, I finally learned, like, hey, if you spend a little bit more, they last a lot longer and they're a lot warmer. That was a lesson I had not learned yet.
So you're not doing the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting ceremony in New York. You're not going to do New Year's Eve in New York City, like
New Year. Oh, okay. Those are two separate things. The Rockefeller thing, we absolutely have to make you do at some point. Come on, that has to happen. The New Year's Eve, no way. There's no way I would ever want to do that. There's 0% chance that's fun.
You might see the ghost of Dick Clark.
I think at this point, I could probably get enough electrified pieces of clothing that I could make it bearable to do Rockefeller. But I don't want to. Nobody's having real fun, right? Like everyone's miserable on the inside. I have to imagine.
Not everyone.
It's a magical experience. You go ice skating afterwards.
Yeah. Speaking of the cold, I remember when I was coaching, and we're obviously just going to get through like one each of these at this point because we spent so much time on this one. But I have to expand on this. when I was coaching, I remember we played at the old Crew Stadium. It was the day after Thanksgiving. We played against Buffalo. And that stadium, if you've ever been there, it's in the middle of a field. It's like literally there's nothing around it. I think it's called like Map Free Stadium now or something, but it's open in both end zones, the soccer stadium, but where the end zones are, it's open and the wind just cuts right through. It was like we took our home at Bowling Green on the road with us. It was like a legitimate home game for us. And I was I think this was my last year there, and I was on the sideline. I was signaling. So I was usually the live signaler. I mean, there was three of us. We would switch on and off. I was typically the live signaler. And I remember being so cold that by the second half, like we had a signal where like for week, we would do like a W with our fingers like this, like twist the two. And like my fingers would not do it by the third quarter. I'm just like giving them like this, like just the back of my hand. And they're out there like, what is this? And I'm just like, you fucking know what I'm doing. Just line up. And it was like, it was, I could not get like any blood flow to my hands. And I'm just like, can you please just like either take me off live signaler or just call base cover 4? Like we're up like 3 touchdowns. Like let's just coast. Don't make me do anything. Probably one of the coldest I've ever been in my life. So, I mean, I can relate a little bit on that side, but it is way more fun when I get to laugh at your misery.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Anytime.
All right. Somebody else go.
All right. So I'll go. Mine is targeted to a very specific group of people. People that eat the top off their muffins in a public setting and leave the remainder of the muffin. Who the hell do you think you are? It's basically a crime against humanity. When I see that, I get so angry that anybody has the gall to actually do it. And like, I don't understand the rationale. It's like, we were talking before the show, and to Vince's point, like some kids will do that. So it's like you just took the kid element with you into adulthood and also into a public work setting, and you're just like, this is okay. I guess in your head, are you thinking like, oh, I really like the tops of the muffin. I'm sure there's some people who just like the bottoms of the muffin. They'll take care of the rest of that. There isn't. That's not a thing. You're actually just ruining the entire muffin for everybody and putting your own in consideration on display, and usually doing it private. You can never detect who's actually doing it because they know it's wrong. They're not doing it in public in front of people. Right. So if you're one of those people, you should be ashamed of yourself. And you should never be able to partake in any potluck or any type of work food event ever again.
So I got a question. So you're saying in public, this has got to happen. You're implying, and you're not seeing the person do it, you're implying that somebody's taking a muffin out of the tray, eating the top, and putting the bottom of the muffin back in the tray? Or on a plate?
I've never actually seen them do it, so I don't know what the process looks like. What I think is happening is I think they're prying the top off, ripping it off, and putting the bottom back in.
That's a messy
Whether they
experience.
actually pull it completely out or not, or whether they just like go like this and just rip it out of the tin, I'm not sure.
But the bottom half is in the tin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. It's still there.
Wow.
It's still there. And like I said, you never actually seen anybody do it. So like they know it's fucked up.
Yeah. Like if there's donuts in that same kind of setting, like people will like cut parts of a donut, that's fairly acceptable. And so people do that out in the open in the wild, but they know the muffin thing is not cool. Yeah. I could like if my wife was like, hey, let's split a muffin, and like she was like, well, no, like she rips off the top and like gives me those, like I'll deal with it because like we're married and there's a lot of money in divorce. but like you can't just take that to work and people that don't legally have to deal with you expect that that's going to be okay.
It's not even an acceptable way to split it. Like if you split it down the middle with a knife, like you would do the donut example, like I'm still not going to be super happy, but it's okay. I understand it. I understand the process. You didn't want the full thing, but you still left like enough of the good stuff for other people. Yeah. You didn't just decide I'm going to take the best part and I'm going to leave the trash for everybody else on display. Like, oh, I'm sure somebody's going to eat that bottom part that nobody actually likes.
So I'm going to be devil's advocate here. I'm going to say that I'm going to see the bananas being thrown at me in the fruit.
Charge it up.
The bottom of the cupcake or the muffin is essentially trash. I think it's simply a delivery system for the top, it's the same material as the bottom, but it has just blossomed into this more fluffy, airy, delicious treat with frosting on top. You can't frost unless you're putting something in the middle of that base, like, one of those that you pop in and it goes, oh, there's like custard or something, then that's a crime. But I think if there's nothing in that base, it is simply a platform for you to eat a muffin.
Well, then in that case, you take the entire muffin out, you rip the top off, eat it, and you throw away the bottom.
Fair enough. Okay.
I mean, you can't just leave the trash out for other people to take it. It's like you're just asking people to clean up after yourself.
What if you can recycle the bottom of the muffins and you can make more muffins?
No.
Everybody's gonna have to be on YouTube to see that look.
I'm stretching here. I'm trying to figure out what to do with the bottom of this muffin.
No, I mean, I'm gonna eat it. Like I'm gonna come in the office. Like I'll be like, you fucking asshole, and then I'm gonna eat it. It's gonna happen.
All right, there we go. We found what happens to the bottoms.
Yeah.
Do you bring
after I storm off back to my office?
Yeah, I'm gonna be like,
I'll take this.
Nobody else is gonna eat it all.
Do you bring your own, bottle of frosting and sprinkles and like you know that's going to happen, so you prepare for that and you say, I'm not going to let this go to waste, and you're going to take care of the bottom halves? Yeah,
I have like 4 to 5 different cans of frosting in my desk drawer at all times, so that's no problem.
No.
Prepare.
Good old funfetti stuff. Yeah. All right, Vince, what do you got?
Okay, so the biggest one for me, and it's also Christmas themed just because we're in the spirit. I cannot stand Christmas cards. Have you ever been to somebody's house and you walk in and I'm sorry, Derek, you're looking at me like this is you? There's an entryway of just Christmas cards strung up, and it's everybody from the year that, you got them. Okay, great. That's fantastic. Look at all the people that love me and sent me cards. That's awesome. For me, that just makes me feel like a piece of shit. You got your shit together. You went and you took a professional family photo. You put them onto individual cards, and then you put them in envelopes. You had those really nice return labels printed off, and there's a different one every year. It's not the same one. It's not like you got 100 of them and you stuck them on. Every year is different, and you hand wrote everybody's address and stamped them, and you took them to a mailbox. Who even does that anymore? There's one reason you do anything like mailing like that. It's Christmas cards. That's it. And then I get about 20 Christmas cards, and I see everybody and they go, oh, this is beautiful. Look I didn't even talk to that person in about a year. Probably the last time that they sent me their Christmas card. And I said, thanks for the Christmas card. And then what do I do with them? I shove them into a drawer. I'm too guilty throwing them away because I feel like that I'm not doing it justice, but I'm not going to string it up. And you're lucky if I can even get my kids in one photo together, let alone get us all together, all smiling and happy, and then print it onto a card that I'm going to send to everybody. You're lucky if I even have your address on file. I have addresses from my wedding RSVP list, and God knows that was 10 years ago almost. That who knows what addresses are still accurate. So I'll be sending the same Christmas card to those addresses, hoping that that's right. But anyway, it's never going to happen. I'm never going to send a Christmas card. And it just pisses me off every year because they still do it. 10 years in a row, I get Christmas cards. I haven't sent one back. What makes you think that oh, you know what? I'm going to keep sending it to them. I don't understand that lunacy. Tony, did you guys send us one? I can't remember.
Oh, it's coming like tomorrow.
Yeah, okay.
That's what makes this even funnier.
I'm going to burn it.
Yeah. We're over there filling them out.
Yeah. I'm generally with you, Vince, but Laura loves it. She books the photographer thing. She like picks out outfits. Like it's like, hey, do you have a black sweater? Like I do. Or if I don't, she's like, okay, well, I'll get you something. And then we show up and she already has all this stuff in mind. And then as soon as like she gets the pictures back, boom, like we're on Walgreens.com. We're figuring it all out and they're gone within 3 days. Like it is impressive.
That's how my life goes too. Yep, exactly. Vince, do you think all these people sending you Christmas cards are just trying to remind you that you never sent a wedding thank you card out to anybody?
Okay.
Please tell the story.
Okay. All right. So, yes, that is accurate. I'm going to celebrate my 10-year anniversary with my wife here in this upcoming August, and we still have not sent out the thank you cards from our wedding. I do have documented everybody's gifts that they gave us because I was fully intending. We have the thank you cards in a drawer somewhere in Amanda's desk. I actually searched for them before this call to try to just show you that I have proof. They're really beautiful. They look good. They have a little bit of dust on them. So we had our wedding, and this is something like, okay, we don't do Christmas cards, so we're just really terrible at this. And Amanda, God bless her, she has been taking care of like the kids' birthday parties. Every time there's a birthday party, we send a thank you immediately, and she is on it like this. I think the problem that we had was we went immediately on honeymoon. We didn't even sleep that night of the wedding. We just went onto a plane at like 4 a.m. and we were gone for a week. We came back and life started again. And we just never sat down to do it. And one of the problems was that we tried to personalize every single one of the cards. And that's where you get caught up. And and maybe you select a few, but we had the ambition to do all of them like that. So we started filling out some, and we got maybe through 20. And we had a pretty big wedding. I think it was like 250 people. So then there was people that actually sent us stuff after the fact, or like, they weren't at the wedding that, in person, but they still gave us stuff. We wanted to send out a thank you card for them too. So maybe like 300 cards that we were trying to personalize, and we just gave up. And the guilt was there the whole time, but the guilt got a little less and a little less and a little less every year.
I so badly want you guys to just randomly send those one day.
Well, so I remember it was Laura's high school graduation party. It was like 2 years later. There was some family members like, we never got invited. It's like, of course we were like, they were going to invite you. Like, never got invited. Da, da, da. Like 2-ish plus years later, we're at Laura's parents' house. And there was like a return to sender envelope. Stamped on it was found in supposedly empty equipment. And it was the invitation. This happens often enough that they made a stamp at the post office. Like it wasn't handwritten like, hey, sorry, this got lost. So Vince, you have an opportunity here to finally rid yourself of this guilt. Just finish them and then just stamp found in supposedly empty equipment and then send them off as if like it was like you sent it a long time ago, and just edit this part out of the podcast. Nobody will know.
Well, the 6 people that do, they better not tell anybody, otherwise I'm coming after you.
No one will believe.
Yeah, I think you keep getting Christmas cards because it's their way of reminding you, like Christmas card. And every year just gets angrier.
It's the How I Met Your Mother episode. What a nice thank you note.
Well, I'll have to be honest. I mean, there's a good number of the relatives that were there that are dead now. So what do I do about that? Do I send it to their graves or?
You can skip them. It's fine.
But I got to remember who's dead.
They were grinding that axe all the way to the grave, though. You know they were. Old people have to have their thank you cards. They have to. They get so mad when they don't.
If you want to really sell it, send it to them too. Yeah. Found a supposedly empty equipment, and then they know that you really did send it 10 years ago.
Yeah. I love it.
That goddamn postal office screwed up.
Oh my God. You know, they're snails over there. Yeah, we got to pay them more. The stamp went from 30 cents to 48 cents. And I don't know what to do about it. Actually, the whole graduations party thing, I remember like growing up, I didn't get all of the table manners, what to do in certain situations. Graduation party was a great example where, my dad didn't tell me, oh, by the way, we have this party and then you send thank yous to everybody that was there. That didn't happen. So I already started off at 18 with a bad rep. And my grandmother was like, now, Vince, I didn't get a thank you card from you. Did you get my gift? My grandma, you gave it to me at the party. Of course I got your gift.
I cashed the check.
When she saw she was balancing her checkbook manually. Allow me to add a bonus grievance. I hate that thank you cards are a thing.
Yes.
Can't stand them. Absolutely hate them. I don't like them. I don't like them for parties. I don't like them for interviews, for work.
No.
The fact that I'm like guilted into having to do it when I interview for something, or that the person I'm interviewing is guilted into sending it to me.
Wait. Who is sending thank you cards for an interview?
The email, the thank you email.
I've gotten both. I've gotten thank you emails and I've gotten thank you cards.
Oh, I've never gotten a physical card before.
Yeah.
That's next level.
That happens a lot with, we do like residency interviews.
Okay.
And like they're ultra competitive and stuff. So now I have never sent a thank you for an interview. And at this point, it's like, it started with laziness and now it's principle that if you are going to be the type of boss that holds that against me, I don't want to work for you anyways.
Exactly. And I don't like when like the recruiters like guilt the people that are interviewing with me into doing it too. So I like instantly get like a half hour later, I get this thank you to my email just because it's something that they're told they have to do. And I just like delete it immediately and don't even read it. Like this is ridiculous and a waste of everybody's time. Like I wish the culture around the thank you card thing would just like, everybody should just understand that when you send it, they thank you.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be put in writing.
I mean, even at like, if you come to a party, I've said, thank you. Thanks for being here. At some point in time, I gave you a beer. That's my thank you.
Yeah.
Go fuck off.
How many times do I have to thank you?
Yeah.
You're like the person who just like keeps saying sorry over and over and over again for something.
Yeah.
It's yeah. But still send those thank you segments. I think it's funny at this point.
There's another option. I can also I can send a 10-year update. Where I say,
that would make them even angrier.
Yeah.
We've had 2 cats die. 1 cat's still alive. We got rid of a dog. We had 2 kids and we've moved twice. And yeah.
I think you should just pivot into Christmas cards to the same distribution group. You just like bypass the thank yous. It's like, just like go right over it. Like it didn't even happen.
We're sending 300 Christmas cards a year.
Oh man, you better get Reese and Eva doing some stamps.
My fingers hurt. Well, guess who just pulled landscaping duty?
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, ours were late, but they weren't that late.
but there's a point of no return, right? Like at what point do you say it's too late? Is it a year?
Yeah.
You could probably make a case for like 6 months, but I would say a year is probably like the top of the acceptable range. 10 years. Yeah. You're playing with fire.
6 months. It's like, get your shit together. A year. Oh boy. Now I also though chuckle when it's like way too quick, where it's like, you pre-wrote these.
Yeah.
That or you spent your honeymoon writing them, and why'd you do that?
That's terrible. Why would you do that?
Yeah. But I get it. Like, there's so much anxiety around it because, like, you gotta send them, and like the older relatives are gonna be so pissed.
Yeah, you get a lot of pressure.
Like, yeah. I feel bad for those scenarios.
I think we hit like the 4 to 5 month mark, hadn't done them yet. And we just decided to do like a blanket lazy, like there's a picture of us from our wedding with like big thank you written on it. And then that was it.
It's fine.
So we checked the box. Like we did it.
Yep.
It wasn't personalized, but we did it.
Mm-hmm.
You had a couple personalized ones, the ones that mattered.
A couple. Yeah. For like the person like you who like who married us.
Stole my best man speech.
Yeah. Yeah, Derek was scrambling.
Yeah.
We needed to convene on that. I didn't even realize that I did that at that moment.
If we had telepathic abilities, you would have just heard, "Shut the fuck up, Vince. Stop talking. Please stop talking. Please stop talking." So quick. I know we're way over time. So we are at the reception hall, and I don't remember why, but like, I think we were like unloading stuff or whatever. But there was that like, you walk in on the side, and then there was like a little landing, and then the stairs up to the reception venue. And I was like, the DJ was there, and he was just like, "You're like, you the best man." I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you have your speech?" And I was like, "Kind of." He's like, "Are you like, did you prepare it, or are you like going off the cuff?" I was like, "Well, I had it prepared." And he like looked at me funny. I was like, the officiant just did the whole thing pretty much word for word what I was going to say. He's like, "Well, you could still do it." I was like, no, it's going to look like I just stole his speech. He's like, "Well, like, are you good at making stuff up?" "We're going to find out." So I felt like shit, because I had a speech prepared that then included like some of the like other things. Like I didn't mention it all. Like for years we went and played racquetball with like and all this stuff. Like I had some other things thrown in, but at that point my brain just like scrambled, and I just like I made it all up. And then like partway through I was like, "Oh, that's how I'm gonna wrap it up. I got it now." So I don't think many people realized that it was off the cuff at the time.
It was beautiful. I thought it was great. I loved every second of the speech, and I don't think I ever knew that I stole your speech. I remember you telling me.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I think Tony knew, because Tony knows me well enough. I think that you were just like,
yeah, kind of heard elements of the story today. Apparently, I don't have a lot of content to drop from.
Or you're very consistent. That's what it really is.
Yes. Maybe it's that.
You're very consistent.
I just remember being really impressed that like, so I remember like being in that gym in Bowling Green, and you were like, you had, I don't know, like some version of discussion about it, like an opportunity with another college to like do really cool stuff in football. And you were just like, "Yeah, but like, I see what these guys are doing. Like, they don't have family lives and all this stuff." And then like going this other route. And like at that point in my life, I was just super career driven, that like the idea that I would do something like family at this point seemed silly to me. And then like that was the route you went. I was just like, man, like, boy, Tony's like 3 steps ahead of me here. And yeah. And then every like decision point that led to you and Lauren like getting together and getting married, I was the devil on the shoulder being like, don't do that. Like, you should go coach. Like, don't leave this wedding early to go to the other one. And like, don't do that. And like every one of those things that you didn't do what I told you to do led you to where you are now. I was like, God, I'm terrible at giving advice.
Especially that one. I met her after leaving a wedding that I was in.
Yeah.
Which I basically drank a ton on the limo bus, had to sober up enough so I could drive up to Cleveland, and drove up, ended up going to the ceremony, to where the ceremony was. Completely dark. Nobody there. Because I only had the part of the invite that was the ceremony. I had no idea where the reception was. And it was like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night at this point. Like I was going to the end of the reception. So I had no idea where to go. And I just like on a whim, I just started looking through Facebook. And this one guy that I met at my brother-in-law's, it was my brother-in-law's wedding that I went to, now brother-in-law, but he was a friend of mine from grad school. And I met this guy in his party at the bachelor party, and he just like added me on Facebook like right after, and I thought like nothing of it. And then I'm like scrolling through Facebook, and I see he checks into this party center in Mayfield Heights. I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to this party center in Mayfield Heights. I don't know if it's the right place to go or not, but I'm going there. And it ended up being the right place, and the rest is history.
Stars aligned. Wow. I didn't know that part of the story. I didn't know that you showed up to us to where the ceremony was. I
got there at like 11. It went till midnight. And like I got up to the bar because obviously I was ready to start drinking again. And they were like starting to cut people off. And I'm like, no, I just got here. And they were like trying to like do it to my sister-in-law. I was like, well, she's the bride. You can't cut her off. No. A, and B, give me the rest of theirs because I just got here.
What's really funny, well, what I find funny about that is I was best man in the wedding that Tony left, where I also mostly made up the speech on the fly for that one. And it was a real full circle moment.
It's a career best man right there.
Listen, if there is a third time, and I don't know if there will be, it's incredible to do it once, unbelievable to do it twice. If there's a third time, I don't think I'm writing a speech. I think it's just from the heart in the moment. I'm going to freeze halfway through and be like, oh man, I should have done that.
I got nothing. A toast.
Yeah. Oh man.
How did we get here?
Fucking Christmas cards.
This one really went off the rails. Yeah.
Fucking Christmas cards is how we got here, so that you could thank them and everybody that's doing it, including you, Tony.
Just check your mailbox next couple of days, Vince.
Vince, if it makes you feel better, we sent them out, but I don't think we sent one to you.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. I didn't need one.
Yet. I'll send you his address, Derek.
Yeah, no, please do, because I really want to send one. Actually, I'm going to wait, though, until after Christmas and then send
6 months from now, maybe 2 years. Yeah. Every 3 years, I get a new one from 3 years ago.
I'm just going to take the rest of our Christmas cards and just send you one a day for like until they're out.
Yes.
So every day you go to the mailbox, you just come and get a new Christmas card.
On Vince's line of thinking, and we'll end with this. I do dislike people that use a summer vacation photo as their Christmas picture, because it's like you had your shit together back in July. Like we're scrambling at like Thanksgiving time to get these pictures done, and like you were already thinking Christmas cards in the summer.
Yeah, that's messed up. We saw Santa 4 different times trying to get a picture for a Christmas card.
Are you implying that they're giving you a Christmas card with like Christmas props and everything, but in July, or just it's a July picture?
It'll be like a picture from the beach.
Yeah, but then
with a Christmas border.
Yeah, with Christmas border.
Yeah, well, I mean, I could do that. I could just take a picture from anything and just plop it in. That's an oh shit moment, I think.
No, they'll have like Merry Christmas written in the sand and stuff. Like you could tell it was posed.
Okay.
And then like they do this every year.
Okay.
It's a thing they do. Some of these people. And hey, you know what? Good for you. If this is the thing that you enjoy, by all means, like send them. I'm gonna put them up. Vince will throw them away. But we display them in January, and then we take them down, and I don't know what Laura does with them.
I've barely started shopping. It's December 18th.
Yeah. Amazon's moving slow this year, Tony. You might want to get on that.
That's what I hear. Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Streets are busy. Streets are busy out there.
They're loaded down with all of Vince's thank you cards, so they're struggling.
Makes sense. Derek, your microphone just turned into a Frosty Perenni emblem too when you pulled back. Yeah.
You need to get
there
one
it
of
is. There it is. Yeah.
I think we need to get him a Frosty and Perenni podcast windscreen. That's printed on there. There we go.
I think so.
Love it.
If I see somebody drawing Merry Christmas in the sand, I'm going and I'm kicking it. I'm kicking it all away. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah. That's the correct response.
Yeah. Vince just walks over with his bucket of water and pours it on it. He kicks the bucket.
I'll write my address in the sand. I want one of those cards.
something.
Oh man, everybody else making sandcastles in the sand. All right, I think that's it, guys. All right, so on behalf of Vince, Tony, I'm Derek. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Frosty and Bernie podcast. We'll catch you next week.
The tradition of Festivus begins with the airing of grievances. I got a lot of problems with you people. Now, you're gonna hear about it. You, Kruger, my son tells me your company stinks.
Oh, God.
Quiet, we'll get yours in a minute. Kruger, you couldn't smooth a silk sheet if you had a hot date with a babe. I lost my train of thought. And now, as Festivus rolls on, we come to the feats of strength.
Not the feats of strength.
This year, the honor goes to Mr. Kramer.
Oh, gee, Frank, I'm sorry. I gotta go. I have to work a double shift at H&H.
I thought you were on strike.
Yeah, well, I caved. I mean, I really had to use their bathroom. Frank, no offense, but this holiday's a little out there.
Hey, Kramer, you can't go. Who's gonna do the feats of strength? How about George?
Good thinking, Cougar. Until you pin me, George, Festivus is not over.
Oh, please, somebody stop this.
Let's rumble!
I think you can take him, Georgie.
Hey, come on, be sensible.
Stop crying and fight your father.
Ow! Oh, I got it!
This is the best Festivus ever!